What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Channel. My name's AJ Gales. How y'all doing? It is time once more for the weekly show. Yes, I know I pushed the show back a day, but I had a reason. I had a reason to push it back. I was really curious to see what 2K was going to be doing with the WWE franchise. Obviously, as the title of this video says, I was. It's kind of it's going to be our final topic. I was curious about it, especially because I heard that 2K was going to be making an announcement earlier this morning. So I thought, you know what, I'll push it back a day we don't have to wait a week for me to give my opinions on everything. I just do it all at once. The only reason it's late today is because I got busy I was recording other stuff and I just kind of lost track of time, but that's beside the point. Other than that, we got a decent amount of articles for you guys this week. It's just nothing too terribly big. I guess there is some big news because we have a new definite release date for both Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2. Obviously, we'll be going over that. A lot of PlayStation stuff, some rumors and whatnot coming out, so expect a lot of Push Square stuff, although I guess, come on, always expect a lot of Push Square stuff with me. I really like the writing. I really, they're kind of coming out as it used to be IGN was the site I used primarily, now I use a lot of Push Square. Like I said, they're quickly becoming probably one of my go-to outlets for gaming news, but either way, I'm not here to plug Push Square or anything. That's not a paid endorsement, that's just me giving my honest opinion on something. Either way, as always, links and timestamps are in the description. You didn't come here to listen to me talk about whatever I was talking about. You came here to listen to me talk about the news. So first article we got: Microsoft will talk Xbox Series X games soon, says Phil Spencer. Article Jordan Ramey. I still have always questioned how to pronounce his name. I'm going with Jordan Ramey, but could be wrong. This is on GameSpot, by the way. Article reads, it looks like Microsoft will have more to say about the games coming to Xbox Series X soon. On Twitter, Xbox head Phil Spencer hinted that it won't be too much of a wait until we get another announcement in regards to Microsoft's next-gen plans. Quote, reviewed plans April 22nd for continued sharing through launch. Spencer wrote on Twitter, team is doing great work and adapting. I've never been more excited about Xbox plans. We've heard you. You want transparency, authenticity. We plan to keep showing that way. Next step is not too much of a wait. Games, end quote. See, it's weird to me hearing Phil Spencer talk about authenticity. I don't know. Maybe this might just be a big prejudice I have against Phil Spencer. Or just something about him has just kind of always rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like him. One big thing that he did that really pissed me off. It was, I think, a couple months ago. But when he did that interview, I can't remember with who, but he ends up saying something along the lines of, PlayStation and, PlayStation, I think he might have also thrown Nintendo in there, but I could be wrong. But, he's like, they're focusing on the wrong things. It's us and Google that are focusing on the right things with this whole streaming. It was the cloud and all this. I'm like, debatable. I've said this multiple times on the channel. Look, is the streaming idea cool, and is it probably something we'll see more of in the future? Sure, but similar to VR, it's just, and honestly, VR's kind of stuck around a lot more than I always thought it would, but still, these are things that I think they're trying to be forced into the now when we still don't have the tech to do it right. That's at least my opinion on it. But even that, it's just, I keep hearing him say, we've got all these great plans for Xbox. What plans? What are you doing? I mean, honestly, okay, you've got a powerful console coming out. So? I'm looking at, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to review their controller because I've only seen it sitting next to the Series X or whatever, but it looks like the same old Xbox controller, which great. I'm not a fan of that controller. It just, something about it, it always feels just too big. It's too clicky for me. I'm not a fan of the controller. The new PlayStation 1, I'm coming around on it. I'm starting to like it more and more the more I think about it, but obviously I'll have to wait until I can actually hold it in my hand to make my final call there. But, I mean, it's like I said, I don't have a controller to get excited about. I don't really have anything about the console itself. Okay, it's more powerful, great. But obviously they're probably going to be talking price, which is a good thing that they're going to be talking price. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't want to say like Sony here is being perfect right now. Sony obviously needs to talk more about the PS5, and they have their own things, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But right now, I'm focusing on Xbox, so just note I have some things to say about both of them, but I'm focusing on Xbox right now. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, we know it's going to be a powerful console. Beyond that, what else is there? I mean, it's going to mention here, we know Halo Infinite's going to be a launch title. Hellblade 2 Senua's Sacrifice, there we go, is going to be an Xbox exclusive, which honestly, good on them for picking up Ninja Theory and Hellblade, because Hellblade was a fantastic game. But what else you got? I mean, the next Gears of War game is going to be on Xbox. I really don't give two craps about, in all honesty, because Gears 5 was enough to almost kill the franchise for me. I mean, I'm super excited for Gears Tactics tonight, but honestly, I could care less whether or not I play Gears 6 at this point in time. Gears 4, I think I liked way more than I should have at the time. And if you're wondering why I'm talking Gears of War right now, it's because it's a big Xbox franchise, and the series holds a very deep meaning for me in kind of my path to where I am as a gamer. But yeah, I don't see the franchises that they have. I don't see big franchises. I don't see big AAA titles. I don't see those big games that are going to draw me to the Xbox over the PlayStation. I mean, obviously I'm buying both because I do the YouTube thing where, so, I buy both consoles and I play, I try and play as much as I can. So obviously I'm buying both. But if I was only going to buy one, after the massive success of the PlayStation 4, after the great franchises that they've started to build, be it Horizon, be it Spider-Man, bringing back God of War, the franchises that they have on hold, or that they have probably sitting in the pocket, that they could continue, stuff like Jack, stuff like Sly, Infamous, I would love to see come back. Resistance would be cool to see it come back. Hell, they have, well, actually, I always forget, who owns the rights to Sunset Overdrive? Is it Microsoft? But if it might be Microsoft. Microsoft might own the rights to that one. But if that one is owned by Insomniac, PlayStation, give us that long-awaited sequel to Sunset Overdrive. Excuse me. But no, I just don't think Xbox really has the franchise. Basically, it's going to come up to whatever they announce coming out. Like, what are going to be the big launch titles? What are going to be the big games on Xbox? Because, I mean, I hear people all like, oh, Xbox is such a great place to play, and they list games. I'm like, well, I could also play that on my PlayStation. I don't, a lot of these games aren't exclusives. I just don't, okay, yeah, I guess I'm also being unfair. They have Forza. But the reason Forza just I keep forgetting because I'm not a racing fan guy. But on the same terms, I don't mention Gran Turismo for PlayStation. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, acting like they've been so transparent about what they're doing with the Xbox. Maybe I just haven't seen it, but yeah, other than just specs for the console, what else has really been announced? I'm sorry, I kind of went on that tangent there, but I generally, unless they announce some really cool projects, I still give the advantage to PlayStation entirely based on what we know is going to come to that console at launch / eventually. With Microsoft, I don't know what the hell's going to cut, because it's a crapshoot. Because hell, this generation it had some really neat high points, but then it had so much time in between them. It had so many small, just little indie projects coming out on it. Yeah, I mean, granted, Ori was cool. State of Decay is great. I mean, there was some. Well, I guess State of Decay wasn't an Xbox One game, but you get, or State of Decay 2. Let me say State of Decay 2. But it's like they keep trying to trump up Sea of Thieves as some massive project. Really? Like, I get it. People are still playing it, but I don't think it ever became what people are trying to act like it is. Or no, that's not the right way to put it. It's never become what people thought it would. There we go. But yeah, again, it's just, I don't think Xbox has the games to stand up toe-to-toe with PlayStation. So they're trying to focus on anything else. But I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm being an asshole. Maybe they're going to come out and announce something. But I'm afraid it's going to be like their E3 presentations, where it's going to be all these small little indie project games, which are cool on their own. And I'm sure some will end up being really well received, something like Ori. But at the same time, that's not what sells consoles in the grand scheme of things. I hate to say it. It's not what, even if you want to say, well, AJ, you're just focusing on the big blockbuster projects. You're right. But I am also looking at what's going to grab more casual, what's going to grab a wider audience. And I think you do that with the big, you bring them in with the big blockbuster projects, and then you sell them on all the other cool stuff. That's what you do. You know, you don't get somebody into a particular movie genre with some niche independent film. Generally, you try and get them in with some big, more well-known stuff. I don't know. That's at least my theory. Whatever. I'll finish the article. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there. So far, Microsoft has been steadily drip-feeding information about its next-gen hardware. We know what the Xbox Series X looks like, what its specs are, and how its controller stacks up to the PlayStation 5's DualSense. Really? We do? Huh, okay, I'll have to look more into that one. I don't know. Again, I just looking at how the damn thing looks, I'm not a fan. Just because, again, other than the 360 was my first Xbox controller that I really liked. I think mostly because it was more rounded. It fit in my hand better. The Xbox Ones has so many sharp, just basic edges, hard edges. I'm not a fan. Granted, I am talking the mainline Xbox controller. I'm not talking any of the other ones that came out post, so that's whatever. Let's see here. However, not too much is known about the games yet. Currently, Microsoft has only confirmed Halo Infinite as launch title for Series X. Hellblade 2: Senua's Sacrifice will be released for Xbox Series X, but it hasn't been confirmed as a launch title. CD Projekt Red has announced a next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077 will be developed, but it won't be ready by the time Xbox Series X launches. Xbox Series X will support backwards compatibility, though, so players can at least play the Xbox One, or expect all Xbox One and select Xbox and Xbox 360 titles to be playable on Series X at launch. I think we've heard similar things from PlayStation. They kind of flubbed that announcement, though, because I had to re-clarify it. I think it's basically going to be the same thing that Xbox is trying to do, but they kept trying to. They've said it in so many different ways. It's kind of hard to understand 100%. And as far as the Cyberpunk thing, again, same answer. We know there's going to be a next-gen version of it. Obviously, they're going to release like a GOTY kind of version with all the DLCs and everything. I'd guess probably 1.5 to 2 years after the basic launch, so probably in 2020, holiday 2021-ish, or somewhere early 2022 is when I guess you'd see like a true blue next-gen, a true blue next-gen Cyberpunk 2077. Although, again, it's weird to me that they're trying to sell, Xbox Series X, you can play Cyberpunk 2077. I'm like, well, okay. But, I'd still like to, play Cyberpunk 2077 not in November. I'd rather play it in August. Is that when it said? Is it set for August or set for September? I can't remember. It's one of those, I think. Oh, God, I can't even remember. I'm taking shit 1 month at a time. There's been so many releases this year. But no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just they're trying to sell me. It's like, the Xbox Series X, you can play Cyberpunk 2077. Or I could just play it on my Xbox One when it comes out. Let's be honest, I'm playing on my PS4, but that's beside the point. All right, moving over to Push Square, Sammy Barker. Next-gen game reveals are imminent, but Sony silent on PS5 plans. This is kind of continuing on from the last article a little bit. Apparently, we've already got a glimpse of a couple PlayStation 5 games, courtesy of Godfall and Quantum Error, but with coronavirus scuppering, I don't know, its plans, Sony has been largely tight-lipped about its next-gen plans. Despite not showing much more than the Japanese giant, Microsoft has built up a reputation about being more forthcoming about its Xbox Series X format, and responding to a fan on Twitter, boss Phil Spencer has suggested that it'll be showcasing some software soon. See, and again, everybody's saying like, Xbox has been so much more forthcoming. Maybe, but I still feel a lot of the stuff that we've been seeing has kind of either been the same thing over and over and over and over and over, or it's been the same thing said different ways, or it's just, they've been announcing stuff, but it's been in my opinion, it's been far and few between of really interesting tidbits. It's like, they're doing more than Sony, but it's also not much to write home about. Again, it's my opinion. I'm not going to say that's fact. I'm going to say that's my opinion and what I've seen and all that. So feel free to disagree. And I quote, reviewed plans yesterday for, we already read all that stuff that Phil Spencer said. There are strong rumors that both Microsoft and Sony plan to present the next-gen platforms in May, which could be approximately 6 months prior to their holiday 2020 release window. Despite this, the Japanese giant has remained silent about its impending plans, failing to share any timelines or roadmaps when we'll learn more about the PS5 and its games. The good news is that with Xbox Series X poised to take center stage, we should get our first glimpse of several third-party titles soon, and that's a mouth-watering proposition in and of itself. No, he's right. I mean, I am interested to see what the Series X is going to do. I want to see if they can fight back. I always sound like I'm so hard on the Xbox, and I'm not trying to necessarily be hard on the Xbox necessarily, because I do like the Xbox. I mean, it does hold a place in my heart. It's just, I see them making decisions. I've seen them make decisions in the last couple of years and everything, at E3s and everything, and I'm just like, really? That's where you're going? You're seeing what PlayStation is doing and kicking the shit out of you, and that's where you go. It seemed like just such a weird decision. And like I said, I can't stand Phil Spencer. That's a personal thing. But on this, definitely Xbox does have the advantage. I mean, they are being more forthcoming. I mean, this is one of those that you don't have to outrun the bear, you have to outrun the guy next to you. I would argue that they're not being extremely forthcoming. They're not saying, oh, they're not constantly releasing stuff. No, it's basically a slow drip. It's like he said, slow drip, I guess. But no matter what, it is more than Sony. I think Sony's got to step it up. I get it. I don't know exactly what the coronavirus situation right now is in Japan or what's going on with them, but I do think they need to come out and announce something. They need to come out and show something. I mean, hell, when they announced the controller, which I thought was a perfectly fine way to talk about the DualSense and everything, was through an article on the blog and everything. I thought that was the easiest way to do it. I thought it was the best way to do it, in all honesty, because I didn't need to see Mark Cerny. Dear God, don't send Mark Cerny out again. All respect in the world to Mark Cerny. You're a genius, dude. You're not a marketing guy. You're really hard to follow, if you ask me. That's beside the point. I thought it worked perfectly, but it could have been, they could have done something a little bit more, with a little bit more showmanship, so to speak. And I hope Sony does that in the coming months. Hope these rumors are true, and whatnot. I think that's all I have. I need to take a quick breather, because if you can't tell, I'm getting passionate. I'm talking faster. I'm getting out of breath here. Oh, God, I'm out of shape. This quarantine's really hurting me. All right, guys, let's kind of continue on with, I guess, some more sort of next-gen console news. This is an article by Robert Ramsey on Push Square. Ubisoft is ready to... let me try this again. Ubisoft is ready to delay games if PS5 and Xbox Series X are pushed back. There we go. I know most people would say, AJ, why don't you re-record those bits that you kind of stumble on your words and everything? And I say, you know what? I like this to be more of an off-the-cuff sort of thing. I don't like the script. I don't like the... Because I feel it takes away my energy. It takes away kind of my personality. You know, I mean, you can argue, AJ, you have about the personality of an old shoe, but let's ignore that, and let's let me think I have personality. Let's let me have my dream. About cried for a second. Sorry, I'm a piece of shit. Let's keep moving. Let's actually read here instead of going off onto whatever tangent I was going off onto. We're living in very uncertain times right now, and although Sony has I cannot read the word repeatedly, apparently. Sony has repeatedly said that the PlayStation 5 is still launching in holiday 2020. There's always a chance that plans will have to be reworked. Unsurprisingly, publishers are well aware of this. Speaking to the New York Times, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot gives us some insight into how the company is prepared for such an outcome. Guillemot says that its schedule hasn't been significantly impacted by the ongoing coronavirus situation, despite the fact that Ubisoft's development teams are now working remotely. Both Sony and Microsoft have allowed developers to continue using next-gen dev kits, which is obviously a huge help. But if the worst does happen and the PS5 and Xbox Series X are delayed, Ubisoft is prepared. Guillemot comments, and I quote, "We are not seeing a significant impact to our timelines, but we are in touch with all our partners, and if there's a need to adjust in order to do what's best for them and for our players, we will do so." End quote. This suggests that the publisher is ready to delay its upcoming games if necessary. After all, everything has to be working in sync for a successful console launch. Do you think the PS5 will make it out by the end of 2020? Envision a next-gen future in the comments, blah, blah, blah. No, I do think consoles are going to meet their targets. I mean, the big question is production and what's going to be available at launch. I guess that might be a bit of a question, a bit of a fear for me. But I really don't... I don't know, maybe it's hopeful optimism or something. I keep kind of saying this, and look, and again, this is me saying this as me, not as a medical person or whatever. Look, I think we will be back on track by October, November. Dear God, we better be. If I have to continue living in the house with my parents, I'm going to end up shooting myself. No, that's nothing against them. I love my parents. They're great. But whatever. What was I talking about? I was talking about next-gen consoles. Yeah, I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to come out on time. I do think the last statement by Guillemot, I think he says something there that I think he really understands what's going on, understands that really the successful next-gen console launch is not just for, it isn't just necessary and great for PlayStation and Microsoft. It's also good for the individual developers and publishers and everything. So it actually behooves them to push back and to push their games back to meet those deadlines. Because again, I mean, it kind of helps them not having, they develop a game for launch on these next gen platforms, then the platforms get pushed back. Well, what do we change everything, try and retrograde everything to fit the current gen hardware to release on time or whatever? But no, I think it's a smart move to push back. This is not a super important article. I just kind of wanted to kind of have this preface into our next sort of big topic, or not preface, this sort of transition us into our next big topic as we talk about two games that were delayed because of the virus and everything. Let's move on. To start, the big one, The Last of Us 2 release date set for this summer on PS4, article Stephen Tailby of Push Square. Out of absolutely nowhere, Sony has confirmed a brand new release date for The Last of Us Part 2. The PlayStation 4 exclusive was recently delayed indefinitely, but it seems the game will make it out in just a few weeks after the original 29th of May date. The Last of Us 2 will now launch on the 19th of June 2020. Sony revealed this news via the PlayStation blog, and I quote, "As our team at Sony Interactive Entertainment and Worldwide Studios approach development milestones and confront a world changed by COVID-19, we find ourselves having to adapt to today's ever-changing environment." And the platform holder says, there we go. Continuing. Amidst some disruptions to our working style, we wanted to provide an update to PlayStation gamers who are eager to learn when our next exclusive titles will arrive to PlayStation 4. End quote. The news also confirms that Ghost of Tsushima will also face a delay to make room for Ellie's latest outing. Read more about that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's also kind of interesting that they mentioned that Ghost of Tsushima get pushed back. Initially, I was thinking, okay, they're letting Ghost of Tsushima having a little extra time to be polished up, but now I'm thinking, you know what? That's as soon as I read that May 19th, or not May 19th, it was June 19th? Was it? Yeah, June 19th. I'm like, oh, they pushed Tsushima back to kind of give it a second to let Last of Us die down a little bit. It makes sense. I get it. Honestly, I'm super stoked. I'm really glad that this game wasn't pushed back too terribly far. I mean, really, a couple weeks, that's not bad. Same with Tsushima. My biggest fear is that I won't be able to play it at launch. I'm really curious to know. It's not necessarily the fact that I'm afraid that they're not going to be able to release physical copies or be able to do any production or anything like that. It's at GameStop's. Well, GameStop is preparing to reopen in some markets and places from what I've been reading this week, so I don't know, I'm going to have to check with my local GameStop, and if not, I'm going to have to figure something out, because I'm not going to wait to play this fucking game. But, yeah, obviously this is good news. Not a lot to really add to it. Let's just kind of move on to another quick article. As was mentioned in the last article, PS4's Ghost of Tsushima delayed into July 2020. Extra time will be used for finishing touches. Okay, yeah, Robert Ramsey. Yeah, okay. So it was finishing touches, but again, and I guess it also does kind of help them say, yeah, it probably would, it's to give The Last of Us Part 2 some time as well. Sony has officially confirmed a delay for Ghost of Tsushima. The PlayStation 4 exclusive was previously set to launch on the 26th of June 2020, but it's been pushed back to the 17th of July due to the ongoing coronavirus situation. Fortunately, it's not a particularly, I cannot pronounce that word, big delay, which suggests the game is still on track and pretty much finished. This isn't the only big news that Sony has locked in today. Also revealed that The Last of Us Part 2 will be joining the Ghost of Tsushima on PS4 this summer with a new release date. Writing on Twitter, Sucker Punch explained that it will use the additional time to polish the forthcoming Samurai open worlder, and I quote, "There have certainly been challenges in adapting to game development in a work-from-home environment. Excuse me. But thanks to an incredible effort by our worldwide team, Ghost is nearly ready for release. There are a few finishing touches to apply and bugs to squash, so we'll put these extra couple weeks to good use, end quote. Earlier this month, we published a poll asking whether or not it would get delayed. 46%. That's not how you write that. Of you said yes, while 25%, that's still not how you write that, said they weren't sure. An interesting read giving the news. No, I was kind of on the fence there of the, I guess you could call me not sure, because I was kind of saying, I gave this one a 50-50 shot of being delayed. But I figured it was one of those, I could see it being delayed, but also I could see it being far enough along in its development cycle, and they would have had a little bit more time than what The Last of Us was having to adjust to this sort of development from home sort of structure. So I figured Ghost of Tsushima, I could see a world in which Tsushima would hit its date, and I could see a world where Tsushima would miss its date. So that one was kind of up in the air for me. I still think that CD Projekt Red is being accurate when it says Cyberpunk is coming out when it is coming out at release. I'm 75% sure that one's going to hit. But no, I didn't think, in the last article I kind of said that I was kind of on the fence about, or kind of worried about the indefinite. I mean, that's just kind of my own fear of that word indefinite. I am using that word correctly. An indefinite delay to the game, because it's the fear of unknowing. But my more rational brain was telling me no, it's probably only going to be a couple weeks to a month and a half maybe, because really it's as oh my god, I'm drawing a blank here. As the director of Last of Us Part 2, Druckmann. There we go. Wow. I for some reason, I'm like, it's a D. Why? I never blank on this name. As Neil Druckmann was saying, they were on like the 1 yard line. They were almost done with it. So yeah, I'm not surprised that that's only a couple weeks. So it's not bad. Like I said though, my big question is, because both Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2, I bought collector's editions from GameStop. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen, because as far as I know, our GameStop in town is still closed. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Another article by Robert Ramsey, also on Push Square. Rumor, Watch Dogs Legion will be a PS5 launch game. This is a game that's kind of disappeared from a lot of our conversations. Honestly, I have high hopes for it. Look, I really hope that they're not over promising with Legion. I really like a lot of the ideas that they were talking about. I think the storytelling is going to be done in a very interesting way. I'm not going to go into a super long talk about what, we focused on Legion a lot when it got announced. Also, in the past, I think, year or so, we've talked about this game a lot, but really we've not heard a lot about this game for a long time. So it's interesting that it's talking to be a launch title. Let's see here. Watch Dogs Legion was originally scheduled to release on March 6th, 2020. Oh, wow, it was, wasn't it? I just totally forgot about that. I forgot it was set to come out early this year. It was just one of those that I had not heard anything about. I had not seen any marketing or anything, so I just the game, again, just out of my head until I saw this article. Kind of weird to think about, isn't it? But even before the whole coronavirus thing began, Ubisoft delayed Legion and a number of other titles. That's right. Right. I remember that delay. Now that it mentions it, I remember that delay. Yep. That it still has in the works, including Gods and Monsters and Rainbow Six Quarantine. Yep, I remember that delay. Sorry. False start. At the time, Ubisoft didn't give new release dates to any of those games. It simply said that they'd launch beyond April 2020. Now here we are in May, in the face of what we're yet to hear. What is it? Now here we are staring May in the face, and we're yet to hear much more on the release of Watch Dogs Legion. That sentence just doesn't sound right to me. However, VGC reports that Legion is currently planned as a PS5 launch title. It's set to debut alongside next-gen consoles, suggesting that there won't be a current-gen version releasing before then. If true, it's an unsurprising development, but it has interesting implications. For starters, it would probably mean that the next Assassin's Creed title, which we know is coming, won't be on PS5 at launch, reason being that Ubisoft won't want to release two of its heavy hitters on the same day. The same is true of of something like the aforementioned Gods and Monsters. It's worth noting that Watch Dogs Legion has been confirmed as a cross-gen title for a while. As far back as E3 2019, developers have been calling Legion a game made for the God damn it. As far back as E3 2019, developers have been calling Legion a game made for PlayStation platforms. Then in October last year, Ubisoft said Legion would utilize PS5's features in extremely interesting ways. Of course, this big question that hangs over the industry right now is whether the PS5 or the Xbox Series X will actually stick to their holiday 2020 launch windows. Only time will tell. See, now that's kind of an interesting question. I'm like, is this Ubisoft saying they're with Legion, they're partnering with PlayStation? I mean, I'm going to wait until I hear that exactly. I'm still treating this as if it were a cross-platform, but just the way they're talking about it kind of makes it sound like this might be a PlayStation exclusive. I mean, clearly, Ubisoft has a history of doing this. A lot of developers do that. Yes, it's cross-platform, but they still kind of partner with one over the other for maybe a few more things. It runs a little bit better on this platform than this platform or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect here, man. Now whether or not, I don't know. I mean, maybe with this new... I mean, again, let's assume this rumor is true. Again, this, until I say otherwise, we're assuming this rumor is true. If Legion comes out with the PlayStation 5 at launch, then yeah, probably we won't see a new Assassin's Creed game until 2021. That is if PlayStation matches Xbox's release date in late November. So, man, there's a lot of questions to be made, because, I mean, I could see that if the new console comes out, Legion would be with the new console, and then the next AC game would probably be a month and a half later. Maybe, if they still wanted to hit this year. I really don't know. And again, that's all assuming this rumor is true, because who the hell knows? And we could be grasping at smoke right now. This is an interesting development. And like I said, the thing that I'm most curious about is, does this mean it's going to be an exclusive? I'm seeing things that might be hinting to that, but nobody's saying it. And hell, Sony or Ubisoft hasn't said anything about this. So again, this could all be wild speculation. So at this point, my take is, who the hell knows? Keeping on the rumor train here, apparently gigantic Horizon Zero Dawn 2 will feature co-op on PS5, article Liam Croft, Push Square. Horizon Zero Dawn was a purely single-player adventure on PlayStation 4, but it looks like developer Guerrilla Games has plans for its next generational sequel. According to Video Game Chronicles, a reliable source, the PlayStation 5 follow-up will include online co-op so that Aloy is no longer doing it all on her own. The website states that both the studio and Sony have always been keen to implement the functionality into the series, with the original game supposedly supporting the feature before it was scrapped so that the team could focus on other areas. In Horizon Zero Dawn 2, online co-op will be available, but it's not yet clear if this will form part of the base experience or if it'll be delivered via a separate mode. Video Games Chronicles goes on to claim that Guerrilla once intended to realize a standalone preview of the co-op feature with progress carried over into the full game on PS5. However, it is no longer clear if those plans will be carried out. In other news, development of the sequel supposedly started on the PlayStation 4, but being transferred to PS5. Furthermore, Horizon Zero Dawn is described as gigantic, thanks to a larger game world and more freedom to explore it. Teaming up with the partner for one of Sony's biggest PS5 exclusives certainly sounds exciting. So what do you make of this rumored plan? Share your thoughts in the comments, blah, 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 blah. You guys know my thoughts on online games and co-op games. Look, I like co-op games. I always say this, one of my biggest moments, one of my best memories from high school, is in gaming related, is playing through the entire Gears of War franchise couch co-op in a weekend with my best friend in high school. I stayed over at his house. We were chugging Mountain Dew, staying up like 14 hours, like we're pulling like for like 2 or 3 days. We slept maybe 6, 7, 8 hours between over the weekend. We slept that much, just playing Gears of War, playing heavy metal in the background. Like I said, drinking tons of Mountain Dew. I mean, that was one of my big memories from high school. I fucking loved those days. And, and we do that a lot. Like I hang out at his house over the weekend, and we play games. Sometimes we play single player games like Skyrim. Like we trade off and do different bits, or if we like we'd play like I'd play for like an hour and a half or whatever. We'd listen to music and just kind of talk while just joking around, just doing crazy shit, and hand it back to him. And again, we just hand back and forth. We'd play BioShock that way. We would play a lot of games that way. We kind of turn games into co-op games in a weird way. So yeah, I don't necessarily hate the term co-op. I hate it when co-op is necessary to a game. I mean, it's cool, it's fun. It's just generally when I like to play a game, I like to play it myself. Play in my room, be alone, be able to escape into the game. That's what I like. I mean, obviously it's a little different now because I have this microphone in front of me and I kind of do everything with you guys, but I can still not have to worry about talking to someone else, to you guys, thinking to myself and analyzing the game and thinking about what I want to say about it and whatever. It's just nice and easy to sit and play by myself. Mix that with the fact that, honestly, I'm not a very social person. I'm not. I've said this before. I'm autistic. It's very difficult for me to, even with people I'm comfortable with sometimes, to really sit down. There are very few people in my life who I can really sit down at any time and just talk to. I'm very cagey with people. It's very uncomfortable. Runs his mouth on it, but it really. So. Frustrating. I don't know. I mean, I think that they're going to probably do something that's similar to like what Assassin's Creed Unity did, where it's not a separate mode, but there are features within the main game that are done in co-op. I think that's what it's about. To actually get back on topic here, sorry, I was kind of went into a long-winded explanation of things, but it's kind of it's my mixed feelings on co-op games. Look, dear God, don't turn it into a multiplayer game. Don't do what they did to fucking Ghost Recon Breakpoint, where at some point I just tapped out. I couldn't play that game anymore. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm done. Don't ruin Horizon Zero Dawn like that. Oh, dear God. But I could see where Horizon Zero Dawn would work as a co-op game. Again, it's like I said, I just hope it's not a mandatory co-op game. And that's my big thing. Now, again, this is all rumor, so who the hell knows? But I could see it working in a few different ways, but mostly kind of like building it, like exploring more of the world as Aloy. Like she's going to take like a small group of villagers or settlers or whatever, and go out and explore uncharted parts of the world to them, and like there's going to be some sort of mechanic of building up your village or whatever. So I could see something like that working in a co-op sort of mechanic, but that's beside the point. Let's move on. All right, now this one, I have a very strong feeling I know what this is going to be, but let's read the article first. Before I talk. Days Gone developer Sony Bend recruiting for a AAA PS5 project. Article Sammy Barker. It won't come to much of a surprise, but it won't come as much of a. One more time, it won't come as much of a surprise. Something about that doesn't sound right to me. Surprise, but it's worth pointing out Days Gone's anniversary. Sony Bend is recruiting heavily for a AAA project, presumably the PS5. The job listings aren't especially forthcoming, but a post for a rigging technical artist position mentions cinematic quality facial articulation, while a senior audio programmer will contribute to the creation of 3D audio. Obviously, 3D audio is one of the PS5's major selling points, although it's worth remembering the studio also has experience in this space, as it supported the feature in its biker-themed PlayStation 4 open world. Well, we'll probably have to wait a few years to find out exactly what they're working on, but a Days Gone sequel seems like a safe assumption at this stage. Oh, definitely. Definitely, Days Gone needs a sequel. Oh, Days Gone was fucking phenomenal. I mean, it was easily my top 10 last year. I don't think that game got anywhere near the support it did. Look, I'm not saying it should have gotten a Game of the Year nomination. I'm not saying that. I think pretty much every game that got nominated for the Game of the Year last year. Granted, Sekiro winning that still surprised the hell out of me. Maybe there's one of them that I would argue that Days Gone should have gotten a nomination for, but I could see why some people weren't a big fan of it. You know, Days Gone kind of rubbed some people the wrong way, but I still think it got more crap than it deserved. That game handled extremely well. I loved the story. The characters were great, especially that of Deacon St. John, the performer for Deacon, by the way. Fantastic job. I absolutely loved his wife, whose name for some reason isn't coming to me. Boomer, Iron Mike was really cool. Schizo was such a fantastic dickhead it was so great killing him at the end of that game. The general for the militia was such a cool character. The Rippers. I fucking love Days Gone, man. That game, I don't. Part of me would have liked more of like a scavenging, more of a. I want to say more of a. What's the term? I would have liked more choices, like actually being able to make choices and have certain things, kind of change. Do you kill this person? Do you not? They had one where it's like, which group do you bring these supplies to? But I kind of liked how both groups were. You kind of think, oh, this one group's probably better than this crazy guy who's living up in the mountain talking, with his radio-free whatever, his little anti-government sort of radio thing. And then you find out that the other lady is basically running a prison camp, and you're like, oh, they're both kind of fucked up, but oddly enough, the militia guy is probably a little better. God damn, Copeland, that was his name. God damn it. God, Days Gone was great. Just talking about it again, it brings smiles to my face. I gotta replay it. I really love the game, the way the freakers moved. I like the freakers themselves. I thought they were really cool. It was zombies it was zombies, but a little different. The game fucking worked to me. And like I said, I'm really hoping for a sequel. I think it deserves a sequel. Most definitely. Days Gone deserves a sequel. So I really hope that's what this project is. All right, sorry, that last that last article kind of in the end just turned into me saying, "Oh, how much do I love Days Gone?" But on to another game that I really love. Danganronpa 10-year anniversary is bringing the trilogy to mobile. Article Olivia Harris, GameSpot. Yeah, I still prefer to pronounce it. I'm trying to wait, do I always pronounce it Danganronpa? Sometimes I go with the more American Danganronpa, but no, it's Danganronpa, but whatever. I fucking love the series. I love them. I got all three of them on my Vita. I miss my Switch. I like them on my Switch, but I have them all on my Vita, and honestly, I'd love them on mobile. I'd play them at work. I'd play them in the car, just like so many places. I know I could do that all on my Vita, but still, it's a little easier on my phone. As part of Danganronpa's 10th anniversary celebrations, developers Spike Chunsoft have announced the release of all three Danganronpa titles on mobile outside of Japan for the very first time. Okay, let's try and go through these titles. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, and Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, there we go, will all be heading to Android and iOS. While the news of the three ports was announced during the Famitsu and Dengeki Game Awards, the tweet confirms that the ports will be getting new UI and touch controls. There will also be a newly added gallery mode where players can find concept art and event scenes from the series. This is only the first announcement of the anniversary celebrations, with more news set to be released on the official website during May 2020. Spike Chunsoft will be hosting a Dangan TV broadcast on the third Thursday of each month, with the character Megumi Ogata acting as the MC. Each broadcast is going to have a specific theme or tone, with the final broadcast on May 21st set to be themed How I Met Danganronpa. The mobile releases have no release date as of yet. Not much to add here other than, yes, I'm probably going to be buying all of these. I love them. I highly suggest them too. They're great kind of like visual novel mystery games. So with some really kind of wacky characters and everything. There's definitely some shit that happens during them. They're like, wait a minute, why is this happening? But you just kind of have to go with it. Honestly, I'm thinking if they're going to keep announcing stuff, just me throwing something out there. Danganronpa 4. I'm just throwing it out there. Who knows? All right, kind of keeping in things that I hope is going to end up happening. Far Cry 3 villain Vaas could return in some form, actors suggest. Article Sean Prescott, PC Gamer. Far Cry 3 was very well received when it released in 2012, and not just because it reimagined the series' open-world shooter blueprint, it also featured the series' best villain in the form of Vaas Montenegro. Vaas is... God damn it, I can't read. Vaas is remembered fondly by fans, and despite being quite scary, and he's also fondly remembered by fans despite... For some reason, I keep seeing sentences in this that just seem structured so oddly. Vaas is remembered fondly by fans, despite being quite scary, and he's also remembered fondly by Michael Mando, the actor who played him. In a recent Reddit AMA, Mando hinted that the character might return, and I quote, "Vaas is my spirit animal," Mando wrote in response to one question. "Having co-created that character is something that will always be dear to me. I still get recognized as Vaas, and I still feel that outpouring of love for the character. Makes me very happy. Who knows? Maybe I'll reprise the role very soon. Thank you for watching." End quote. While there's every possibility he's teasing, that comment does leave open the possibility that Vaas will return in the Far Cry series in some shape or form. While Vaas technically died in Far Cry 3, that hasn't stopped speculation that actually he didn't die. Besides, mere death has never stopped the return of beloved characters to lucrative entertainment franchises. Since Far Cry 3, Mando has most notably starred in Better Call Saul as Nacho Varga, a drug cartel member with a big heart. He also played Scorpion in Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm hoping for a prequel in which we get to play as Vaas. That we get to see Vaas because we know him and his sister through dialogue from his sister in Far Cry 3. And again, this is what I remember. I could be off here, so correct me if I'm wrong. That basically she said that, he was kind of trained to be a warrior, things were expected of him, and then he ended up falling when he met Hoyt. There we go. I couldn't remember the main bad guy because he was so uninteresting compared to Vaas. That we could see Vaas kind of go through his descent into madness. We could see Vaas kind of descend and become the villain. I really would love to see a prequel starring Vaas that we get to be him. I think that would be so cool. Either way though, any game that would include Vaas, I think it'd be weird though to include him in a game. Well, he died. Let's be honest, he freaking died. They'd have to pull some really contrived bullcrap to pull him on. I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of Far Cry, in all honesty. I mean, after the kind of lackluster 5 and the even more lackluster whatever that last one was, that was the post-apocalyptic one. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of hope that they go back to more of what they did in 4 and 3, because I think that was really kind of the height of the series. Primal was kind of fun, but then I think 5 really screwed things up. 5 just did not work for me, and neither did... I can't remember the subtitle for the New Dawn. There we go. New Dawn had, like I said, had some interesting bits. There were things I liked about it, but as a whole, I think the game did kind of fall short. But whatever. All right, let's stop goofing around. Let's get to today's main topic. I said main topic, even though I don't really have a whole hell of a lot to say about this. And the reason I don't have a lot to say about this is because I fucking hate what they are doing with this franchise. I fucking hate it. I mean, God damn it. And I get it. What they're doing with this, I'm sure some people will love it because it's quirky and it's zany and but they are taking the WWE kind of like simulator franchises that are really fun, and just instead of making up from last year and making a good game, they decide, let's scrap that and make an arcade let's make some, I don't want to call it shitty because I'm sure it'll probably be well done, but let's make an arcade game that has nowhere near the complexity, nowhere near the amount of detail and the amount of just cool shit in it that a true simulation like WWE 2K game will have, or again, as I loved them back in the Raw vs. SmackDown era, but that's beside the point. Instead of doing that, let's make an arcade brawler. And I don't want to diss on arcade brawlers, I get it, but you have to admit, it's, from a technical standpoint, it's a simpler game to make. To me, it seems like they're running away from what happened last year, and I don't think this will appease the fans because they made a piece of shit last year. I was going to think about censoring myself, and no, I've already said the F word a lot. No, they made a piece of shit last year. Let's be honest. This is article Ben Wilson. This is on Games Radar. There won't be a WWE 2K21 this year, but don't worry, we will be getting a WWE game. I'd put that in heavy quotation marks. 2K has confirmed that WWE 2K21 is being dispatched to the giant wrestling ring in the sky, and that in its place, the company is releasing an arcade-style brawler called WWE 2K Battlegrounds. And it looks a lot like THQ's 2011 cult favorite WWE All-Stars. Ding, 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 ding. If that game included The Rock throwing John Cena into an alligator's jaw, you can see a bit more in the trailer below. Look, I've seen some things in the trailer. Yes, it's goofy. Sure, it does look fun in some ways. Yes, him throwing him into the alligator's mouth. I got a chuckle out of that. But still, if you were making this along with the 2K game, the actual 2K game, okay, fine. Whatever. Fine. Do that. But this just seems like bullshit to me. It really frustrates me, man. It really, really irritates me. It was WWE All-Stars also. That was the game I was trying to... Because I'm like, this looks like something I've seen before. I could envision it. I couldn't remember the name of it. WWE 2K Battlegrounds is being made by Saber Interactive, the studio responsible for NBA 2K Battle Playgrounds, whatever. I'm sorry. I'm very frustrated. You can tell by the way I'm reading. The game released in 2017 featured big-headed basketball players doing crackerjack things on the court, and Battlegrounds is clearly aiming for a similar vibe. And I quote, Battlegrounds is completely new WWE gaming experience that will feature arcade-style action and over-the-top superstar designs, environments, and moves, says a 2K spokesperson. We're focused on a social pickup and play fun with plenty of fun depth for those who want to get into it. End quote. You know what? Here's what I think that... You want to know something? If you wanted to take a year off and not make a new 2K game, here's what you should... Here's an idea. How about you rework... You actually fucking fix 2K20 and release patches or try and fucking fix what you broke. Jesus Christ. Maybe that's what you should have done. Is it not obvious that I don't like this kind of like cartoon, and it's not even that I don't like the cartoony aspect of it. It's not something that I'm terribly excited, that I wouldn't be terribly excited for normally, but the fact that they're doing this in place of a typical 2K game, mixed with the fact that the last one was such a massive shit show, it really rubs me the wrong way, man. It really does. Let's see here. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, John Cena and The Rock, and Stone Cold Steve Austin are the first 5 wrestlers confirmed for Battlegrounds. An additional mix of new and old favorites is guaranteed, including reigning WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, Universal Champion Braun Strowman. As explained in our now sadly defunct WWE 2K21 roster feature, we may even see CM Punk make a shock appearance. A controversial star returned to WWE as a backstage analyst late last year, and fans have clamored for a 2K21 comeback. Signing him up for Battlegrounds instead would be a huge development. Would be a huge step down, but whatever. The bigger news for long-standing fans is the death of WWE 2K21. It marks the first time since the SmackDown series inception in 2000 that there will be no official sim game released in the calendar year. Following a woeful reviews of WWE 2K20, the long-standing franchise mastermind Ukes was let go midway through the game's development, with the in-house devs' visual concept picking up the slack, and the end result was a bug-infested mess. Maybe getting rid of Ukes was a horrible decision. 2K says it's very aware of the substantial negative feedback, and so has brought aboard Patrick Gilmore as a series' new executive producer. Gilmore did a sterling job of returning Medal of Honor to prominence on PS3. This is not how you bring the series back from last year's fuck-up. Holy crap, am I about to have a stroke? Wow. Oh, man, I must have missed that part of the article, or was like going blind from rage. Wow. Sorry. Publisher hopes can some miracles of visual concepts. No. Gilmore most recently worked on Amazon Game Studios' MMO New World, which is scheduled to land on Windows in August. And I quote, "We hear you and we know you want more from the franchise, so we are applying what we've learned in the next WWE 2K simulation game with a renewed focus on quality and fun," says 2K. As part of that commitment, we are extending the production timeline, and will not be releasing a WWE 2K simulation game in 2020. We want to ensure the development team can create a great game that will entertain grizzled WWE 2K veterans as well as newcomers who want to climb through the ropes and step in the ring for the very first time, end quote. Look, that sounds like a cop-out to me. Look, I get it, all that leading up. Maybe I'm getting a little mad when I wasn't reading the fact that they're doing this to take a year off. And a lot of times I'd say that works. With a game like with a game like Assassin's Creed, or a game, or other franchises that come out yearly, you don't do that with a game that's kind of like Madden or MLB The Show or whatever. You don't take years off because the last one wasn't good. And you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you put in the work, and you make a better fucking game. I mean, hell, I still don't trust. I'm trying to remember the last 2K game that I truly loved, because it's really been a long time. I mean, I think the best thing that they've done was add in the WWE Universe element. But was that from the old SmackDown days? Was that in the SmackDown games? So what? When did 2K pick up the franchise? Did 2K pick up the franchise in 12 or 13? Was that when they picked it up? I'm trying to remember exactly. I need to do a little bit of research on that, but ever since they've picked it up, I've seen this franchise just keep going downhill. I don't think taking a year off is the solution. I think the solution is, hey, look at what games were successful. Hell, even your own games that, even if I'm not a fan of them, people were, and use those as templates. Why do you need to take a full year off? Hell, the biggest problem with last year's was the fact that it was buggy as shit. Your story mode was actually kind of okay at parts. I mean, I had my own issues with it, but near the end especially, it just started bugging out and the game just looked like ass. That's beside the point. Jesus Christ. I mean, the game controlled fine. I mean, it was a fine to play game when it worked. Like that's your biggest problem. It's fucking getting the game to work. It's not even what you're trying to do. Fuck me. I'm sorry, let's watch this trailer. I will admit that is funny. Again, this is... What was that THQ one? All-Stars? Yeah, that's what this looks like. I mean, maybe there will be a little bit more to it. Maybe there'll be something here. Maybe, like I said, maybe they'll do a little bit more with it than All-Stars did. All-Stars was fun, but at the end of the day, there really wasn't a lot to the game. So, but at the end of the... But again, at the same time, you're really replacing 21 with this... God damn, this really frustrates me. I hate to end it on this note. I really hate to end the show with me being pissed off, but it really does frustrate me, man. I don't know. Hey, Ukes, go sign up with AEW and make an AEW game and make it be good and bloody and all those cage matches they have. I'd play that. God damn it. I was not expecting to get this pissed off, but I was expecting to be irritated. But this made me mad. I'm gonna go eat dinner, something. Thanks for watching, guys. Social media's in the description. Like, comment, you're not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned more next time. Till then, my name's AJ Gels. This is the Untitled Game Channel. I'm out.